Um, Blake, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, thanks for having me. I think this is a really cool initiative. My name is Blake Bunting. I'm the co-founders and the director of business development at Goparity Canada. We run a crowdfunding platform that we specifically use to help fund and help allocate more money towards sustainable development projects. And the beauty of crowdfunding is we can involve the entire community, so bring everyone together to fund projects that are really important to advancing our sustainable transition, as well as working on social initiatives and projects that really matter to the community, so it makes sense to fund them through the community. And yeah, we've been working on Goparity in Canada for about 4 years now. But it's been a long kind of founder journey to get here, and we actually took a really beautiful, kind of unique approach to trying to solve this problem by looking at other markets around the world that had solutions to connecting the community with community finance. And we found an organization called Goparity, based out of Europe in Portugal, Lisbon, Portugal.
Oh, really?
And we really early on found a beautiful fit with them and formed a relationship that later turned into a partnership and now has turned into opening Goparity and a Goparity branch in Canada. So we are new and kind of an exciting new option in Canada, but we're also a global organization and a global community of about 50,000 users that comes with a bit of weight, so we can fund a lot of projects that we wouldn't be able to alone, and grow a lot faster, and hopefully adopt and get more money directed towards Canadian projects.
About the process, because you have almost two sides of your business, where you're getting the crowdfunding and going out to the community, and also you have the side where you have to identify the businesses and their projects. Can you talk a little bit about that as well, please?
Certainly, yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're that connection point, right? We have a platform that makes it really simple and easy for individuals to interact, communicate, and even become stakeholders in projects that are impacting them, have an important place in our society, in our communities, but they might not have any reason to learn about oyster farming or learn about some new innovative renewable energy projects going on in rural British Columbia. But being able to scroll through and browse exciting projects through a crowdfunding platform is a really great way to tell a story, more than anything else. So that's really where that connection of the two sides comes from, is we're just communicating a story and helping the organization that has really taken those steps to continue to run their business really well, but also taking that initiative to prioritize sustainability, prioritize social impact. We get to share that with the broader community, and that's where the connection comes from, and makes it all work out, really, in that instead of running two separate businesses, two separate customers, we are lifting up these organizations that are working on these amazing projects, and it brings the community when we tell that story.
That's great. And with your starting the business, and I know you were working with a partner out of Europe, was there challenges that you were facing, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, well, first of all, I'm 24 years old. I'm a first-time founder. I'm a young person.
Good for you.
And so a lot of learning has come out of all of this. A lot of personal growth, a lot of learning about the industry, but and a lot of challenges, of course, both from who I am and what we kind of the resources we had when we started this, but also from kind of the sector as a whole, being quite a regulated, quite traditional sector. It's quite difficult for kind of new innovation to come out of the financial sector, and
Especially in Canada.
especially in Canada, above all else. And that's actually one of the reasons we looked to other areas of the world when we were looking, doing our research, because very few options have come up here, largely because of that, both capital barrier to entry, but also application and timing barrier to entry. So regardless of us being kind of young people new, I think a big challenge was that regulatory piece, finding a model that operated like the crowdfunding model that we're looking at in Europe, but that fit into our regulatory and within our compliance and securities landscape here in Canada. And that's something that took a lot longer than we expected. So we were initially expecting about 4 months, but we said, okay, 6 months to do the application. That's how long it should take. We'll be conservative. And it took us 15 months from when we submitted our application to license the platform to getting approved. So March 2023 was a big celebration, big excitement after a whole lot of waiting. And that's really was a little bit scary too, because there's not an easy way to kind of create a proof of concept, right? Most times with a startup, you want to do a really small scale test with customers, but when you're talking about investment products, even on a small scale, you need to be regulated to do that. So we were kind of working for so long without being able to actually work with investors, work with businesses. So the last year has been phenomenal in kind of validating that it is truly something that people are interested in, and it does work. And then the last thing I'll add back to being a young person, I think it is definitely a challenge sometimes in some situations, but I think the unique piece it brings is that we haven't worked in these sectors for 10s, 20s of years, and it means that we haven't become as comfortable with the status quo and kind of the norms of these industries, and I think gives us a unique perspective to say, this could be done better, or this isn't necessarily the most equitable way that we're doing this, and it's got us a long way in. I think that trade-off is quite important, but ultimately for the best in our situation.
I think being young brings a fresh perspective to the matter as well, and the landscape of everything has changed, and the future of it is different too. So I think young people have better understanding of that, and they definitely bring a more long-term thinking into it as well, right? And your way to this point and building the platform, of course you guys are using different technologies. Has technology been a challenge in this as well?
Yeah, so I mean, we're very fortunate in that we have an in-house development team. So we, in Europe, as we were starting up overseas, very early on we took we made the decision to spend the capital and build out our own platform instead of licensing a similar technology, and build out our own dev team in that capacity. And although costly, of course, at the beginning, it's really proved quite successful in that now we're building this really incredible platform that we can tweak to exactly what our needs are, and also it can be used for other organizations that are working in different areas, different sectors, and really allow for kind of repeatability of this model that is we see as so important to be adopted around the world. So we've been very lucky there, but again, I think that goes back to the hard part I've found on the technology piece more than anything is it's a slow adoption from the regulatory perspective, right? We are doing things that we have to be really lean and cost effective when we have, instead of maybe one or two investors, each investing $500,000 to reach $1 million, we have thousands of investors investing small amounts. So we really need to make each of the onboarding process, the identity verification, the building an investor profile, confirming that these individuals are comfortable, safe, and having an enjoyable experience. We have to do that really efficiently. and that's something that requires a lot of automation, a lot of technology that we've been able to develop, but then communicating that and getting that approved is sometimes a barrier, and partially what went into that very long approval process.
Exactly. And do you guys use Microsoft 365 in your process at all, or in your organization?
We do. We do.
Any challenges that you guys face with Microsoft 365?
That's a good question. Challenges. Actually, yeah, I'd say there's a couple. I think. I don't want to say it too much. Well, I mean, I think everyone has lots of bumps along the way with using Teams, I find. Can always be a struggle. And then the other one is, I think, centralizing data sometimes, and when we rely on SharePoint, but we also have our own platform and document and database.
Communicating between those two.
Yeah, there's definitely more development to be done there. But overall, it's kind of, we use it because it's that kind of standard email, the video communications and data piece. But yeah, I don't know if I have too much to add about it.
That's great, thank you. Is there something else that you want the audience that are going to read this blog or watch this video to know about your company, about the goal that you guys have, about your mission, anything that you want to share?
Definitely, yeah. I think if there's one thing to put in this vlog to hope is a takeaway, is that we set out to do this because right now across the world there's not enough capital going towards sustainable development projects. If we want to meet the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, let alone late years later, we have a huge gap in the trillions of capital not being directed and towards these goals. And what we think is a true solution is the people. There's a lot of organizations and governments and corporations that aren't allocating that capital as it needs to be. That's where we can come together and direct our capital in small amounts, but together we are a big force to make the changes we want to see and align ourselves with a clean and prosperous future.
Thank you so much, Blake. Appreciate it. Yeah.